the um, training here. Bridget, did you see my Voxer to you? I just asked if you thought it would be okay if I kind of started with my why story and then kind of dove into what we were talking about and then the hashtag piece. Is that fine? Okay, you hit record. Perfect. Okay, guys, let me pull up quickly the training for tonight. I had it open and then it stopped, or then I closed my browser on accident here. But we're going to talk about hashtag research tonight. That's the third training from the Brock and Shalene training that we went through. But before we dive into that, hold on, let me download this. I'm going to make sure it loads. Before we dive into that, Bridget and I were kind of talking about, okay, what do we want to really hone in on as we're thinking about Diamond Push Group, retreat, getting into the fourth quarter and whatnot. And so I wanted to kind of share my vision story, and I'll be transparent with you guys. This is a little bit hard for me to dive into because the depth of it isn't something that I really share publicly. Because parts of my why are not my story to tell. But I want you guys to really understand like the importance of having a deep-rooted why related to this business, because it matters a lot, especially when you get into like harder seasons or push seasons, or, you know, trying to figure out like, how do you continue to press forward one day at a time when it gets really, really hard? And especially when you're pushing towards things like business goals, financial goals, helping somebody else, you know, turn this into a business, whatever it is that's important to you, it's so important to have a deep-rooted why. So I'm going to share my story. I'm going to do my best not to get overly heated or emotional. Sometimes that's hard for me. But I think it's really valuable to share this because I want you guys again to understand like my why is so deep inside of who I am that it truly does not matter how hard this business gets, how like much adversity I've had to go through, how much negativity comes into my life sometimes from other people. Like none of that will shake me to the point of ever stopping because my why is so deeply rooted. Okay, so just to give you guys like a quick background, Kelsey, thank you. I super appreciate that. Just to give you guys a bit of a background, I'm not going to go into the life story of my dad, but I'm just going to tell you that he had a really hard life, like a very, very hard childhood, a very, very hard life. And growing up for me, I saw my dad work very, very hard, and not in a way that was healthy, right? It was in a way that was stress-ridden, anxiety-ridden, long hours, never with our family. I remember him very vividly, like getting physically ill all the time from how overwhelmed he was and how stressed out he was and how much anxiety he carried in his day-to-day life from his childhood all the way through to his working years. I remember him coming home at like 8:30 at night, and he would walk into the kitchen exhausted from the day and get a plate of food and go up to his room, and he wouldn't even talk to us. And that's how he lived his life for most of my childhood. And that's what I remember. And so I remember so vividly how much my dad worked for us and how hard he worked for us. But I also saw like what working can really do to you when you feel this obligation to take care of your family and take care of things, even if you don't love it. And my dad didn't love it. My dad hated every second of what he did, and it made him physically ill for years. And he was never around, and he was never home. And it was hard. It was really hard. And that is what I saw as success. That was my teaching when I was a kid. And for so much of my adulthood, I really equated like, well, if I'm going to be successful, I better go to college, and I better get a really good degree, and I better get a job, and I better work my tail off to the point where I make myself physically sick and do what he did, because that's what was modeled for me. And I've learned obviously over time that my deepest why is I don't want that for my family. I don't want that for my husband. I don't want that for my kids. And because of that, I will never stop doing what I do here in this business, because I know that the second I stop or say no, I'm saying yes to the potential for that. And I've already seen glimpses of my husband having to work in that way or do those things or travel significantly or be a part of things that he's not passionate about or excited about. And that scares me to my core, because I do not want to lead that kind of life, because I've seen it firsthand growing up. And because of that, because of my experience, because of my story, because of how my dad lived his life, because of the things that he went through, like that has shaped me tremendously. And Dave and I have conversations about this all the time. And I'll be so transparent with you guys right now. Like, I have wanted to quit. Oh my gosh, I can't even tell you how many times in this business I have wanted to quit so many times, because I've been tired of the adversity and the no's and the being at Success Club Zero for weeks and weeks and weeks and missing goals and taking longer than I ever thought to get to where I wanted to be. But you know what? It doesn't matter. Like, none of that really matters or measures up to the adversity I've seen someone like my dad go through, and the goal and the vision and the dream I have for my family, and how I know that I can have that come to fruition if I continue to press forward and work hard and grow and do things that I don't necessarily always want to do, in order to maintain this sense of I will have success in my family without sacrificing our personal wellness. Like, that is my number one goal, not only for me, but for Dave. And like, the more I dig into that and the more I remind myself of the deep rooted why behind why I do what I do, the more I'm able to figure out, okay, how am I going to continue to grow and push forward? So the point of this, like, why am I sharing all this with you? Why am I being this transparent? I think right now, especially as we get into the last quarter of the year, and a lot of you are pushing towards diamond or trying to solidify your diamond or trying to figure out what you're doing for your family, I want you to think about, why does it matter? What is your goal and why does it matter? Why do you want to build an income with this business? Why do you want to get to diamond? Like, you have to really think about a deep rooted why. Like, something inside of you has to be, it has to be big. It has to be big. Because if it's not big, it will cause you to waver. It will cause you to be inconsistent. It will cause you to make excuses. And I will tell you, like, Bridget and I have been in this pretty much since day one together. And the one thing that her and I have done is we have shown up every single day, no matter what, because that's how deeply rooted our why is. And that's how deeply rooted it matters to us to be here and help other people, because we really want to be able to fulfill the vision and the dream that we have for our families. So that is my encouragement to you guys right now, as we think about, getting into the last half of September here and getting into the last quarter, especially because we have the Diamond Push group starting and all of you guys are in there. Now is the time to figure out, why does this matter? Truly, what does getting to diamond really mean for you? Is it just a recognition and an accolade, or does it give you some sort of stepping stone towards the life that you want, the dream that you want, the team that you want, whatever it might be? So right now in the chat, like, I'm going to go into the hashtag training here, but right now in the chat, I want to know, just off the top of your head, what feels like the hardest thing right now from getting from where you are today to the next stepping stone in your business? Like, what feels the hardest to you? Like, is it putting yourself out there more? Is it sharing your story more authentically? Is it figuring out how to add value? Is it truly just inviting and connecting with people? Like, what feels like the hardest thing? Because Bridget and I want to continue to dig into these things, guys, because again, when you think about the hard in this business, if you have a deep rooted why, you can figure out a way to push through it. You can. Because you can, like, get through that mindset shift of understanding, like, okay, yeah, all of this is hard, but if I don't choose to push through this hard, then I'm saying no to this part of my why. And when you remind yourself of that, like you figure out a way, you make the time, you get out of your comfort zone, like you're able to push yourself in a different kind of way. So I'd love for you guys to just kind of continue to share that as I dive into the hashtag training. I appreciate you like giving me the safe space to share my story. I have a lot of deep parts to my story that I don't really feel are parts of like, they're not things that I should share because they're not my story. But I can tell you that my why is so deep that I won't ever stop. And you have to get yourself into that headspace. And if you're not there yet, then I'm just challenging you and encouraging you to just figure that out. Figure out what is the deepest reason of why you want to be here and why does this business matter? What will it mean for your family? What will it mean for you? I think for me, like, I never even realized, one, how strong I actually am, and two, how much more I really had to grow and still have to grow. This business has forced me to grow in ways I never even thought was possible. And it's really important to start to get transparent and real about those things, because that's what's going to help you really start to uncover why it matters. Okay, let's see. Kelsey, connecting and inviting, getting much better at inviting and feel more confident, but for sure the connection part and make new ones and building their relationship. Les said inviting and finding other working coaches. I know I don't talk about it enough also. Yeah, like stuff like that, guys, like all of those things, like the confidence for those things comes from developing your deep-rooted why and practicing it. And every time I feel scared or feel like I shouldn't invite somebody or feel like I don't want to talk or feel like I can't share it, like I literally put myself back in that place to, okay, well, what are you saying no to related to your vision and your family, Erin, if you're not going to go ahead and step out in this way, if you're not going to go, that extra mile towards whatever it might be that scares me. It's like figuring out how to push through that fear. And it all comes back to that deep-rooted why, connecting and getting people to say yes. What do you mean by getting people to say yes, Chelsea? Like, are they just unresponsive, or do they just have a lot of excuses and objections? I'd love to hear a little more on that. Connecting, inviting, connecting with working coaches to build a team with. Yeah, Bridget and I will continue to brainstorm on this too more, guys. Because the truth is I don't have a lot of great answers for this.
Can I just chime in quick?
Yeah.
I was going to type this out, but I'm like, it's easier for me to say it. Just because simple ways that I found that have been working lately. And actually, this is something that's worked for a long time, but obviously random polls. Amber talks a lot about that in our morning power hours, but even you guys, if you are deciding between a shoe to buy or a dress to wear or anything like that, even if you're not deciding, if you already know which one you're going to wear, literally do a poll in your stories about asking them which one to wear. I will get so many poll responses when you do what to buy, what to wear. Even like Heather, when you were doing like interior design stuff, like changing like which one to do, that's a good idea. So that's random polls. But I'm just telling you, the ones that do the best is when people can give their opinion on which one you should choose, even if you already know which one you're going to wear or buy or do whatever. So that's one idea. And then connecting to, I have found to be working, and I think I've shared this before, so it's just a reminder, you guys, is going to those other pages that you enjoy and that get a lot of comments and engaging in their community. So I literally just go there. They did a post, they have a ton of comments, and I'll just scroll through and see what people said. I don't look at their post, or I don't look at the person or anything like that. I just see what they said and I like it, I heard it, and I comment back saying, just responding to whatever they said. So for example, a fellow homeschool mom just posted that she's making homemade chicken noodle soup tonight and what is our cozy meal. So I commented what mine was, but I looked through everybody else's to see what they said, and one was similar to mine, or exact same thing, grilled cheese and tomato basil soup. So I was like, oh my gosh, me too. And she ended up liking my comment and started following me. So it's just like a simple way to look into the other people's communities and engage in there. Not saying you have to follow people in there, but just people will come over to your page and just see if they relate to you based on you commenting on in that community. So that's what I found to work lately. Yeah, massive to have a reminder daily. Yeah, like this is easy stuff we always forget. And so it's not on the business activity tracker on how to connect. And so I like having those reminders of like what to actually do. And so I have a saved collection of influencer accounts that I really enjoy their communities, and I just spend 15 minutes a day. I'll usually do it twice a day. That's what I strive for. But sometimes it's only once a day to me to go in there and just engage in their communities is what I strive for, at least 5 days a week, I should say. And then I also have that intro message when I get new followers too, that really helps people. I feel like the people that are not as shy, they're the ones that respond back. But otherwise, there's people that just don't respond back because they're, more standoffish on social media, which is fine, but they continue just to follow and watch, and eventually they may comment or answer a poll or do something. So that's why it's important to always do random polls then too.
Will you guys all quickly comment with how many followers you have on Instagram? I wanted to share something that I've been doing that's actually been pretty eye-opening for me, because I think, one of the things we focus on in, okay, 520. Okay, awesome. I'm going to share, I feel like, hold on, I'm going to look really quickly. One of the things we focus on in Power Hours all the time is connecting and finding new people, right? Which is obviously important. Like, we should never stop doing that. Where is it? Okay. But one of the things that I've been doing is I've actually been sweeping through my followers. Like, I haven't been going out necessarily into finding new people recently. I've been actually looking at who is following me that I need to re-engage. And about 1.5 years ago, I paid for a service to help grow my following, which was a massive mistake. And what I'm realizing the more I sweep through my following is I have a lot of really people that are 100% not my people. They're not my people, or they're fake accounts, or they're old dudes, or people that I don't need to be connecting with or talking to. And the more I've been researching about the Instagram platform, the more I'm understanding that when you have people that are following you that really aren't part of your niche, your content potentially can have the potential, or has the potential to get even more buried, because Instagram only shows what you post to a certain amount of your followers, a certain percentage of your followers. So if you have people following you that aren't a part of your true person or market, you are more buried. So one of the things I've been doing is going through my followers, very specifically, and everybody has 300 or more. Okay. When you think about it, and this is the post I'm referencing here, if you go over to the Chic Influencer account, you'll see they posted this 5 days ago. They talked about when you're posting, or you're doing an IGTV, or you're doing a reel, it talks about thinking in numbers. And basically it says this: if you have 25 views, you filled up a classroom. If you have 150 to 300 views, you filled up a movie theater or a commercial airplane. If you have 500 plus views, you filled up an auditorium. So I want you guys to think about who you actually have in your following that you can potentially re-engage with and re-enlist. I've actually been going through and deleting followers. I've deleted almost 2,000 followers in the past 6 days, and I plan to delete more. I want to drill my account down and start over. I really don't care how many followers I have. I want true people. I want real people. I want people I connect with, and I want that to help my account build again and get some really good engagement. And the more I'm learning, the more I'm realizing that that's what matters more than anything. It doesn't matter how many followers you have. If you have 300 whatever followers and they're all your true followers and you're getting insane engagement and you're sharing value, that is tremendously more rewarding than having 7,000 and not having more than 90% of them even give a rat's about what you're sharing. And that's kind of where I've been at, because when I used the growth service, I ended up attracting a lot of people to my account that weren't really my people. So I want you guys to think about this, because connecting, inviting, finding new people, that's the common pain point. So I want you guys to think outside the box. And I want you to think about, okay, how do I need to be sweeping through my followers? When it's time to connect, when it's time to find new people, add to collections, go through your followers. Who is already following you that is potentially somebody you want to re-enlist or reconnect with? And who do you see maybe in your followers list that you could maybe remove, that isn't your person, that might be getting shown your content that has nothing, that would be of zero interest to them because you and them do not connect. that has been something that I've been working on and trying, and it has been shifting my engagement slowly, which is really nice to see. But like you guys all have 300 plus followers. Like think about that. As this chic post said, you know, that's an auditorium worth of people. Think about if you got 20 of those people to be a coach, a working coach. That's all you would need in this business. Like it's one of those mindset shifts of trying to think about, just that it doesn't have to be always like outwardly new finding, kind of thinking outside the box. Okay. Do you guys have any questions on that? Just trying to kind of creatively give you some new ideas. Was that valuable or helpful? Just curious. Any feedback is always welcome, because sometimes I feel like I'm just kind of hanging out here. All right. Where's my share screen? Bridget, can you do the screen sharing? I can't screen share. Yeah. I would 100% recommend going through your followers and removing people that aren't your people. Because again, your content's only pushed to a certain percentage of your followers. So if you have a bunch of people that aren't your people, that could be a reason why your engagement doesn't improve or change, on top of hashtags, which is what we're going to talk about. Yeah, I get a ton of creepy people too. It's just bizarre. And if I'm being honest, like I'm being much more diligent these days about who the heck is following me, just because of the stuff that's going on in the world, like child trafficking, all the things. Like I'm really paying attention to who is actually following me and who do I really want my message to be shared with, and who do I want watching. And if I feel any amount of like feeling uncomfortable, or this person just isn't my person, or quite honestly, any level of negativity or just like creeping or never engaging back, and they're not really my person, I'm just like, you know what, it's time to move on. Like I want to really drill down on people that actually want to be in a like more or less a mutual engaging relationship. And that's really hard to create on social, but the only way to really do it is to get super, super intentional. And it doesn't have to be hundreds of thousands of numbers. Like if I had 100 true followers and 50 of them decided they wanted to be working coaches, that would be amazing. Like that. And you have to kind of shift into that like number difference. Because there's a lot of different strategies, I think, related to this. Okay. Can you guys see my screen here? Okay. All right, let's go. This is about hashtags, guys. To let you know, some of this information has already shifted because Instagram has had some changes already. So I'll share as much as I remember and as much as is still relevant. And then I'll give you guys some tips and tricks on things I've been trying and doing. And if you have any thoughts about hashtags specifically that have been working for you, please do share, because hashtags are really hard. And something that's a never-ending learning process, just like all of this stuff. So, okay. So when it comes to hashtags, no matter how great your content is, it's hidden in a forest of trees. So your job is to make sure it gets discovered. And we do that through hashtags, but also like having a really intentional audience, which is why I'm going through my followers list and cutting the fluff, because I don't want my content going to fluff and fake accounts and people that don't actually care. So those are the two things that I've really been working on recently, is hashtag lists and then cutting the fluff from my following. How do you find people? Someone shares your content, searching hashtags, when you actually interact, like, or comment, and then on the explore page. So right now, I mean, what we've already been talking about quite a bit here, guys, is like the importance of adding value, the importance of starting to create shareable content, the importance of reposting people's things that you find valuable, that you feel like your audience might find valuable, and then making sure that you're obviously utilizing the platform for what it's meant for, which is social interaction. So every day, obviously, as part of the Power Hour and beyond, you want to make sure you're really going on and being intentional about liking, commenting, interacting with your favorite kinds of influencers, and, you know, pinpointing people that you want to connect with and talk to further, really talking to, you know, the people that are in your collections and that you've really wanted to create relationships with, and then getting on things like the explore page, which right now we understand from what we're learning is by doing reels or IGTV and live and stuff like that. So I want to continue to encourage you guys to try different kinds of content. Bridget talked about this in the last training, but just posting a picture of you, if you think about it outside the box, is most likely not going to be hitting one of these marks. Like, it's most likely that someone isn't going to share a picture of you. They would share something else, some sort of teachable content, some sort of education, some sort of quote, some sort of meal plan, anything like that. So just keep playing around with it. I've been seeing you guys posting recipes and doing more reels, anything like that. Just keep playing around because that's how people find us. So on the agenda today, let's see. How people use hashtags, finding your best hashtags, using 25 to 28, where to place them, ranking, creating groups, saving groups, and biggest mistakes. So hashtags are mandatory. Basically, all you need to know is your reach and engagement can be significantly better if you actually use hashtags. I'd love to know in the chat here, do you guys consistently use hashtags on every single post you put on Instagram, including IGTV, including Reels, anything that you're posting? Do you guys use it consistently? Yes or no? I'd love to see that in the chat. I'm going to pull it up so I can see. Just because Kelsey Jordan, yes, but not many. Kendra, no, I don't. I usually forget. No, yes, most, yes. So it's just important to try to get in the habit of using them, guys, because that's how you're really able to test if they actually do anything. And it's all trial and error, but the only way you really know if you're able to get good engagement from hashtag sets is by consistently flipping them and using them. So this is just kind of one of the studies that they utilized and said that, people that use hashtags, their percentage of reach and engagement is significantly more versus posts and shares that are not, attached to a hashtag set. The other thing that they talked about in this training was location tags. So I'm always tagging a location. And you'll find, like, when you're about to post, if you research location, so let's say I'm going to go up and do a post. Hold on one second. If you go to, hold on, you guys, let's see if you can see this. So you can, this is so hard to do. Okay, so you can see if I'm about to post, there's tag people, tag business partner, and add location. When you hit add location, this list that it gives you is actually like a curated list of the most popular tags based on where you are. So you can see, like, based on where I am, Park City, Utah is typically the one that has the most traction or the people use it the most. But just know, like, wherever you are, like, the geotagging related to your phone will basically aggregate into Instagram and it'll give you the best location options. But tagging a location on your post is also really important because it's another way people search. For example, like, if you go to the zoo or something with your kids, or if you go to a favorite restaurant or something along those lines, like, tagging those locations, like, people use that as a research tool or a search tool all the time. Now, I will say, one of the things that I do specifically when I'm out with my family and I decide that I want to post, I typically post after we've left. Like, I don't usually post a location in real time, just as, protecting my family and being mindful and safe, because at the end of the day, you just never really know. But I think using locations is super important, especially, as another way to kind of be seen and have people find you. Does it matter if it's in an original, let's see. Does it matter if it's in the original post content or if you add them in the comments? We're going to get to that, Kendra. You're talking about hashtags, I'm assuming. Yeah, we're going to get to that. Do you use location at all times? Yes, I use a location on every post. I need to kind of continue to put in more variety because I'm home most often. Park City, Utah is the one that comes up most. And so that's the one I use the most. But I have found people that way. I have found several challengers that way. And it's actually another way that you can search for people. You don't have to necessarily always search for hashtags or under influence accounts. you can actually go to locations and search for people. So for me, and I know we've heard this in other trainings, but like you can go to museums or aquariums or favorite restaurants for kids or the zoo or places that you might like think your ideal audience may be, and search for other people, utilizing those location tags and those geotags and finding people that way and adding them to your collections that way. So again, it's just like another avenue to find people and for people to find you. So you can see based on this statistic, 79% more engagement when you actually tag a location on your posts. Okay, so hashtags keep you informed of what your target audience is searching, using, and buzzing about. Hashtags are free advertising. They take work, and they do really work when they're used correctly. So one of the hashtag sets that I've created is like a personality focused hashtag group. So I have like my personality in there. Like I have type A, I have Enneagram 2, Enneagram 1, just other kinds of like organizational something or others, like personality focused. And I typically pair that specifically with some sort of quote or shareable content. And that one seems to rock for my account, which is really cool. That is literally the only hashtag set I have found to really work with that specific pairing, but it's taken me a long time to really figure out, okay, this hashtag set works really well with quotes. I don't know why, but the people that follow those hashtags seem to really like that specific kind of shareable content. So again, that's taken trial and error, and really figuring out what those specific hashtags enjoy. So that's just something to kind of know. I think the biggest thing is to understand that they really do work, but it takes a lot of effort. And I'm going to talk a little bit about searching hashtags here, because this is the part that's changed. I actually sent Brock Johnson a note this week to ask him about the change here, because during this training, they talked about how when you search hashtags, which is nice, like if you search hashtag motherhood and you have it come up under tags, what Instagram used to have was a list of suggested hashtags related to that one. So like people were using other hashtags in addition to hashtag motherhood. And it was nice because it would give you a variety of smaller groupings or people that were using less of a specific kind of tag, stuff like that. And it made it a lot easier to find related hashtags. Instagram just took that away, which is a bummer, because now it's much more cumbersome to find different groupings of hashtags. And we're going to talk about this. So how do you find hashtags? You do just literally go into the search button. There are hashtag services you can pay for that Shalene and Brock said are really not necessary. Now that Instagram has made changes, I don't know if they would say it actually is necessary at this point, because it is much harder to find related hashtags, but they are a necessity. So it is important to kind of get into the habit of searching them and making lists. So you can search them. Right now, when you search them, if you guys go into the search part and you look under tags, if you type something in, you'll see a bunch come up. And the biggest thing is talking about how many you should be using on posts and what variety of size you should be using for hashtags. So they recommended 30 or less. Typically between 25 to 28 is ideal. I typically use the full 30, to be honest. Sometimes I'll use a little bit less. It just depends on what I'm posting about and what hashtags I've researched. But it's 30 or less. Where to place them. So Shalene and Brock kind of differed on this. Shalene talked about putting 5 of them in the actual caption and the other 25 in the comments section. And Brock said he typically just puts them in the comment section. I personally put them in the comment section. It's truly, from what they explained, more of an aesthetics thing versus like an actual difference in engagement and reach. I do it for aesthetics. I just like them kind of hidden under the first comment. That's why I do the 5 dots with the hashtags posted. It's just, again, totally aesthetics, and it doesn't look quite as spammy. I will say for me, and I know that even Brock said this too, like if you're posting 30 hashtags in the comment or in the first section in the caption, it just can come across as kind of spammy. But it's kind of up to you. It doesn't have anything, it doesn't really change overall engagement and reach. And then IGTV, again, putting hashtags in the comment section. Don't put it on the caption of that, because it can, again, it can just look spammy and busy when people are looking at the caption or reading the caption on top of your IGTV video. When you say hashtag set, what do you mean? Okay, I'm going to get to that. And it's all in here, Kelsey. They explain kind of what it looks like. Okay, so this is where they talk about ranking hashtags. Image specific. I don't remember what image specific means, but I do remember them talking about the differences in hashtags. So basically, when you're searching for hashtags, I'll show you guys this. When you're searching for hashtags, you can see how many people have utilized them already. So if you go to the little search button, let's put in motherhood, and I'm going to click on tags, and you can see like motherhood, where is it? Motherhood right there, where is it? Has 22M, which means 22 million posts. So that is a massive hashtag. What does that mean? If you use that hashtag, your content will be buried in 0.2 seconds. It's way too big. Way too big. So your broad hashtag, you want to choose about 5 of them, but ideally they said, around 1 to 2 million or something like that is ideal. Anything that has like 500 million, they're just way too big. And so again, what that means is there's so many people using it and it's refreshing so fast, nobody will ever find you in there. So you want to think about when you're searching, okay, you want these different tiers. You want to find about 5 that are more broad, about 1 million hits or so, 1 to 2 million hits. Then you want topic specific. So like I just talked about how I have a personality hashtag set. So topic specific is like Enneagram 2, Enneagram lover, type A personality, like those kinds of topics. And then niche would be something like type A personality mom, or type A stay-at-home mom. Or so like you're niching down, you're going broad, then you're going topic, then you're going niche. And the idea is to have about 10 hashtags topic, about 10 niche. And you can see as you get down to niche, you want about 25,000 to 100,000 hits. So for example, let me find, like I've been doing, because we're doing the Made to Crave group, I've been looking specifically at faith-based hashtags, like women of faith type hashtags, stuff like that. So one of the hashtags that I used was, let's see, let me find one. Hold on one second. I got to tell you, I'm really bummed that the suggested hashtag thing is gone. It was really made a massive difference for finding them. And now it's much harder to because now you have to go through one at a time and type them in. This one's a little bit small. Hold on one second. That's too big. Okay, so you can see, like, this is interesting. So you can see here, I typed in God is good, and you can see like sorry, my mom is texting. You can see God is good has almost 2 million, but then if you see how people niche down and say like God is good, what does it say? God is good, baby. 1.4, then it says God is good to me, which is 33.8. So that would be a good niche. God is good to me. God is good always is 58. So that is a good niche. Sometimes people put emojis on the end of hashtags. Honestly, I usually try to stay away from those. But it really is like you have to take the time and be this intentional and look at like, what are the hashtags? What are the ranges? And how do I get a good mix? And so that's kind of the breakdown. To be honest, I don't do a lot of broad hashtags. If anything, I do even smaller niche. Like I find like 3 to 4 to 5,000 hits on a hashtag and sometimes use those. It's just trial and error. But I have learned that there is a lot of value in putting a hashtag set specifically with what you're posting about. So the picture and the message has to match what you're sharing in your hashtag set, or it's just worthless. And I've totally tried that. I've totally like posted a picture of something random and used like a motherhood hashtag set, and it just didn't do well because it didn't match. So something else to really know and think about. So do you guys have questions about this ranking piece? Does it make sense? Hopefully it makes sense. Okay, so we're gonna go, Kelsey, this is where we're gonna talk about what a hashtag set is and creating groups. And I'll give you guys tips and tricks for how I've been doing this since they changed the Instagram platform. So Brock and Chalene talked about having 4+ groups of hashtag sets. So basically, what does that mean? This means going back to your pillars of your personality, or the pillars of what you're sharing on your Instagram. And if you don't really know, or if you want help on kind of doing this, please let Bridget and I know. The color wheel exercise is available to you guys to help with this, but it really is helping you think about how can I share value and tell people about who I am beyond just a wellness coach. You know, you're a mom, you like to bake, you like to go fishing, your family likes traveling overseas, you collect stamps. I don't know what it is. Like, it can be anything. But the point is, like, having different niches or things that you're talking about is not only valuable for just finding new people and adding value in different ways, but it's also going to help you drive your hashtag sets. So you want 4+ groups that you can interchange and use regularly. So here is the way that Brock and Chalene talked about saving their hashtag sets. So they create hashtag sets in their notes section of their phone. And you can see, like, they have them labeled. They have a business hashtag set. They have a Snapchat post hashtag set. Nature, let me move this over. Nature, quotes, football, story. This is all small business, motivational quotes, podcasting, but you can see. And so this is a really easy way to do it, because one of the things that is really important when you're posting and then putting hashtags into the comments is you want to put it in there almost instantaneously. One of the things Brock talked about in the training was, once you post, you want to basically just let it fly into the platform. So you don't want to edit it, and you don't want to miss the opportunity to put hashtags in, because hashtags should be attached to it literally within the first like 10 to 15 seconds is what he was talking about. So he recommended, like, having your post drafted, go into your notes, copy your hashtag set, go back to Instagram, hit post, go into your comment, post your hashtags, done. And that way it like attaches everything immediately. So you have the opportunity to optimize your reach and engagement as best as possible. So I actually use the Plan app. I'll show you guys what it looks like. Now, the Plan app has also changed, which is kind of a bummer. This one up here, oh man, sorry. This app, the middle blue one, is what Plan looks like. And when you click on this, when you click on the home button of Plan, that's what it looks like. I don't actually schedule it right now because I don't pay for the paid version, but in the bottom, you'll see it has that little blue hashtag. So I click on that circle, and I have all my hashtag sets saved in here. So I have a running one, I have a fitness one, I have a husband love one, work life, mom, let's see, mom, Chicago, mom 2, nutrition, let's see, what else do I have in here? Personality, toddlers, faith. And so when you go into them, I'll go into one of them. If you hit edit, you can see all of the hashtags are saved right in there. Okay. And it'll tell you, like, hold on, I'll go back to it. It'll tell you in the upper, it's hard to find. Upper corner here. It tells you how many I have in this set. So I have 27 out of 30 in this set. So I know I can add more or change it. And then the nice thing is I know exactly how it's labeled, and all I have to do is hit that blue copy button, and then it's copied into my dashboard or into my notebook or whatever you call it. to copy over into the comments when I post. So that's where I store mine personally. Now what this platform used to do is you used to be able to type in, I'm going to just make sure that it doesn't do it anymore. Yeah. So what happened was it like down here at the bottom, they have a search where you can search and add more hashtags to the set. But what they did was you used to be able to type in searches and it would tell you by color where it fell. So it would say like, it would show up in blue in the platform. And it would be categorized as 1 million plus hits. And then it would show up in orange if it was in like the 50K hits mark, or it would show up in yellow if it was, so it told you, like if we go back, which was awesome, but they changed it. Now, I don't know if you actually still can see that or get that in the paid version of Plan. I might actually honestly look into it now that Instagram changed the suggested hashtag search feature, because it does make it easier when you're searching to have like some suggestions. So you're not like drumming up random hashtags that people have used. Like it's so hard to figure out what people may have typed up and utilized. So there's a couple different ways you can save them, but Kelsey, does this answer your question about what a hashtag set is? Basically, it's putting a set together based on a topic, having it all in one place so you can post it, copy and post it and paste it as a block all at one time. And you can post up to 30 hashtags on one specific post. And typically, 25 to 28 is fine too. So Kelsey, let me know. Sorry, go ahead.
Can I chime in quick? Just a little backstory to the purpose of hashtags. Essentially, like for example, for me, the other day, I was looking for a crock pot recipe and I was like, you know what, I'm going to see if anybody posted one on Instagram. So I searched the hashtag crock pot recipes because I wanted to find one and just see what other accounts are out there. So if you're thinking of, the point of these is for people to find you based on the hashtags you are using on a specific post. So I have my financially fit life. Pretty much every post I do on there is about finances. So I have a debt hashtag group like this that I use so that when people are searching for debt-free journey, debt-free community, financial help, budgeting, whatever it might be, they will see my post and see that page. Now, if I post something debt-free or financial on my Wheeler for Life, I'll use those hashtags. But if I'm posting about motherhood or clean eating, whatever, I have a group of hashtags for those because I want people who are on the platform searching for that hashtag to find my post when they look for that. Because people do actually, some people don't know anything about hashtags, but there are plenty of people that do know about hashtags that are in it searching for different things. Just wanted to add that in there for people that maybe don't know the purpose of hashtags.
Yeah, super important. Kendra asked, how often do you reevaluate? Honestly, you have to give yourself time. Like you have to give the tags time to see if it works. So what I do is try different content with different sets. And then, I don't typically like start all over with a hashtag set. I'll just swap some out or I'll take some out. The other thing you want to make sure you're doing when you're looking at hashtags is actually going into the hashtag itself and looking at it. Like when you click on that hashtag, is it filled with content and people that you ideally would want to connect with? That's a big one. And quite honestly, I don't always take the time to do that, which I need to continue to do because hashtags are one of those things. It's like, it just takes time and a lot of intentionality. So once you have your sets, I would say just make sure that you're really giving it time and testing different content with it. So don't just post a picture, try a carousel, try an IGTV with a hashtag, and see, kind of what happens. And yes, don't use a ton that other Beachbody coaches use. That's such a good reminder. Like if you go to a hashtag and you see a bunch of Beachbody coaches using them, like it's just a good idea to keep drilling down and finding a different one. The reality is we all have a lot of overlap in some way. We all have a lot of common interests. We all have a lot of people that we're trying to target that are similar. But there's always ways to niche down and continue to evolve. So just make sure that you're doing that. So really the only takeaway here is, guys, is start making your hashtag sets. Start using them on every single post. start using locations on every single post and testing them and seeing how it potentially helps you or changes engagement or makes a difference. I think, it's just one of those things that is very clearly trial and error, probably more than anything. And from what I learned from Brock and Shalene, hashtags are super important for people that have smaller accounts. When you're really trying to build your brand and build your connections and find people, like hashtags are really the way that you do that. And so like Bridget said, when you're thinking about hashtags, you want to think about what are the kinds of things my people would be searching for? Because again, search on Instagram is just like Google. So you want to think about what would they be searching for? Not necessarily like, what do I think like encompasses what I'm sharing? What do I think my ideal person would be looking for? So maybe it's just like wellness mentor or wellness coach, and kind of niching down from there, like some of those basic ones and niching down from there. So that's pretty much all I had. Yes, Melissa, that's true. So one of the things that Brock does say is tag yourself in your posts. And one of the other things that can help with reach and engagement is tagging things in your posts. So like, for example, today I tagged the person that created the coloring book and the 2 brands that are also attached to it. I usually try to tag like my necklace brand, my shirt brand, my headbands, my shoes, my leggings, stuff in my house, pillows from Target, just like anything like that. Any kind of tags you can put in addition to yourself will be really good, because when people search the tags, they'll also see you're tagged in there. And it's, I don't know, people use the platform in a lot of different ways. So yes, he did say to include yourself in there as well. And I think, I can't remember exactly why, but I feel like it's because if people find you through a hashtag, the fastest way for them to see you and get to your profile is to click on the photo and get to you through that tag. So that's a good reminder.
Also, tagging different things. The company might see it and be like, oh, can we use this post on our feed? And that's happened to me before. When Turner bought his bike, Eric's Bike Shop, I tagged them and they used his photo. And then Little Tykes, we all have Little Tykes. I randomly posted a slide we had and they posted it on their feed. I was like, oh, cool. So you just never know. They might use it on their feed, which will see more eyes on it, that people might come to your page and relate to you too. So.
Sorry, the little toolbar gets hidden. Okay, I think that's pretty much it. Do you guys have any questions or anything else you want to talk about? Was this helpful? This is one of those necessities of the platform. Like it's just a necessity. So I think the 3 biggest takeaways are: go into who is following you and figure out where you can reinvigorate some connections and cut the fluff for sure. So you are getting your stuff in front of the right people. Number 2 would be really starting to research hashtags and make your hashtag sets. And number 3, just making sure that you're really trying to consistently put these things into practice, like putting a location on, putting hashtags on, tagging yourself, tagging brands, tagging things. Because that's the kind of stuff that gets shared or people find value in, or it's continually thinking outside the box, which I know it can be hard, but it's just good to continue to do. So I think that's pretty much it.
I was gonna piggy off of that. For example, the whole reinvigorating maybe current followers, or when you go into your following, you can see which pages are least interactive on your feed. And you can try to see, like, should I still be following them follow me, whatever it might be. But in the morning power hours, when Amber is doing the follow, unfollow, which I do not do, that does not bring me joy. And Brock actually just did a reel the other day that talked about the old way of Instagram, and it says follow, unfollow, and then now the new way. I loved it. But during that time is when I go through my followers or following and see who can I re-engage. because they're already following me. A lot of people, you'll find they're already following you. They don't even realize they're following you possibly. So re-engaging anybody that I want to, that's what I utilize during that time when Amber in the morning power hours. So if you're like, where am I going to find the time to do this? Find different times of the power hours if you're watching them that you don't do what they normally do. You can fit it in there. And then when it comes to hashtag, you guys, like I've never sat down for a long period of time to try to figure out hashtags. So just do maybe like 5 at a time. Like just set aside time and be like, okay, I have 10 minutes. I'm going to find 5 hashtags to add to one group here. And then just slowly build off that. And it takes you a month to do that, so be it. But at least it's done then, and you're not keep putting it off like I have for so long. So now I'm actually dedicating time, but I'm like, I have to do it in bits and pieces because I don't have an hour plus to sit and do hashtags, because that's how long in my mind I feel like it's going to take, because it's such a thing to me. But so that's my encouragement to you guys, is just find those little 5 to 10 minutes, the little pockets throughout your day that you might be on the platform mindlessly scrolling, because we all do it, that you can just utilize and look up some hashtags and mindlessly scroll through those and see if they're your people and you could utilize it. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Sorry, I want to do one more tip, or 2 more tips for how to find hashtags, how to write them down faster. So 2 things I've been doing. The first thing is I've been going to hashtag sets or people that I really enjoy following, influencers, etc., or hashtags that I enjoy following. And then I go to the list and then I look at top and I click on those posts and I look at what hashtags are in those specific posts and I screenshot them. And then I have screenshots in a folder in my phone where I have screenshots of hashtags from top performing posts related to something that I enjoy searching. And then what I'll do is I'll set aside an amount of time where I go back in the folder on my phone and look through the hashtag sets, and I'll get into my email and type myself an email set and email to myself and name it that way. So I can look at my phone, type on my computer, and quickly create my set of 30. So going through to looking at top posts is a really good one. And then just using your computer, like not doing everything on your phone, can just make it faster.
And Shalene even did in the training, she's like, hashtag marketing impact academy, hashtag, like she voice memoed it on her phone. And so you can do that too if you have them all. Like granted, if you know them all, then you probably have them typed out. But she voice memoed a ton on her phone, which Kayla just gave that tip too. If like you're sick of typing over your stories, just like a caption, she's like, just voice it just like you do a text and then just fix any grammatical areas. I'm like, oh my gosh, I totally need to do that because I strongly dislike typing on my stories. So I'm going to use a voice feature soon here. Just another idea.
Yes, another good one. All right, I think that's it. If you guys don't have any questions, I think we're good to go. I'm gonna take a quick picture before we leave. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. All righty. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.